All of our administrators are busy at the moment. Please hold the line and we will answer your call as soon as possible. Unfortunately, we are still busy. Please continue to hold. Unfortunately, we are still busy. Please continue to hold. access here to Chester. How can I help?
Hi Shasta, it's Mr. Hussain here. I'm trying to get in touch with Christopher Browell regarding my brother Mr. Talib Hussain, date of birth 15/9/1960.
Thank you. 15/9/60. What's the name, please?
It's Talib Hussain,
And the first line of his address.
20 Primary Way.
Thank you. I'm just waiting for the record to load up. I won't be a moment.
Okay.
Right. Just going to search for Chris's number. I won't be a moment. Okay. Just going to pop you on hold while I try the number for you. Hi, Shazad.
Oh hi, Chris. How are we doing?
I'm alright. You alright?
Yeah, I'm okay. Obviously, I think we spoke 2 weeks ago. Yeah, and obviously the reason I'm ringing up is because I've not really heard anything back from anybody else regarding our situation, and I just wanted to first of all just get an update.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no update from me. Shazad. I haven't heard anything else either.
Okay, alright. So basically, since we last spoke, there's been absolutely no developments on this?
Not that I'm aware of, no, there isn't.
Okay, alright. Because obviously, as you can appreciate, we're left in a very precarious situation, me and my brother, because, we've got no clarity of understanding. Now, my understanding was that, obviously, I've been speaking to the solicitors in the past, but my understanding is that as far as the council is concerned, there are no ongoing court cases, are there?
I don't know the answer to that. No, I don't think there is now. As far as I'm aware, no.
I know there's a outstanding court case regarding the housing association, but officially that's got nothing to do with the council, has it? I mean, that's a separate organisation. Obviously, I believe that the council are instructing them, but I mean, the reason I ask those questions is that why would I need to speak to the council's solicitor?
Who said that you would need to speak with the council solicitor, sorry?
No, but I mean that other than yourself, I mean when we last spoke, I was asking who else can I speak to, and you said Graham Kenner. I mentioned Graham Kenner. That's somebody I've spoken to previously, but that's a city solicitor, isn't it? And solicitors, as far as my understanding is, are taking instructions from their client, and the client is obviously the council. But I'm still trying to identify, because obviously there's Ms. Browell, there's many outstanding issues that need to be resolved outside of whatever the local authority is pursuing. You understand? There's issues relating to my mum's finances. Obviously I'm not in a position to execute her will. The money's been taken from the house, property's been taken from the house, and obviously with regards to Talib's property's been taken from this house as well. And at this stage, because there's no court proceedings underway from the council, at least, I do need to speak to somebody more senior than yourself, because none of these issues are getting resolved, and every day, as you can appreciate, that goes by is a day that my brother has not having access to any of his money, which is placing both me and him in a very, very dangerous situation.
Yeah, I mean, as we spoke about before, the appointeeship and things like that is I wasn't involved in setting that up. It's my understanding that appointeeship is in place now. Talib would have access to his money if he accepted monies from appointeeships now. And I know your position on this, but he does have access to his money. But
it doesn't.
Between you and Talib, you're not accepting the appointeeship and henceforth not accepting any money from it.
No, that's not correct actually, because we don't have access to it. It's not unfettered access, but more importantly, this is correct, isn't it? You're dictating you can have this amount of money, £250, and you know, but in order for us to accept the £250, we need to know how much money you have, which you're saying that we as a council are refusing to tell you. So you're not telling us how much money you've got of talibs that's accumulating, and you're saying basically, we're not children, to ask money for like a pocket money. So basically, what you're doing is, as a council, you're accumulating all this money and not telling us how much that money is. Now, as you can appreciate, Mr. Browell, that I've spent a considerable amount of money on Talib. I mean, the local authority are fully aware that as soon as I got the lasting power of attorney in 2019, I spent over like £5,000 just to take him on holiday in 2019. Now, since 2019, he's not gone on holiday. All that money's accumulating with yourself, but I think it's highly disingenuous of you to say that we've got access to money, because we don't. Because, for example, if the money was going to a bank account, we could just say how much money is there in the bank account. But this new setup that you've got is 100% in your best interest. You have no accountability, no responsibility. Obviously, there's nothing that we can do about it. You're not held accountable to anybody. Like, for example, if you're an organization and you do something wrong, I could sue you, can't I? Or I can take legal action against you. But under this framework that you've created, we don't even know how much money he's got. So when you say he's got access to his money and there's an appointeeship in place, what appointeeship in place? We've quite clearly stated that that's a fraud. We didn't even go to a final hearing, all right? And the judge basically just gave an order. So can you understand that? You're telling us that we have access to money, but it's not legitimate, is it? If I say to you, Mr. Browell, I'm going to send over £1 million to your bank account, but I want you to know that I've got this £1 million by selling drugs. Would you accept that?
No.
No, you wouldn't, would you? Because obviously that's proceeds of crime. All right, and
I can understand what you're saying about, you not agreeing with the appointeeship or say that it's fraudulent, but also from my point of view, I don't know the full logistics of it, but as far as I'm aware, there's a final order in place, and that's been approved by a court. So other than saying that court is fraudulent, which I cannot say, and that's out of my jurisdiction, there's an order in place that's set up to allow Talib access to his money.
No, there isn't. All the orders created as a deputy, all right? And that before the deputy, there was a court order that said that Adalat's the appointee. Would it Talib have? The fundamentals is that that money, we're not even talking about social care money, which started this off in 10 years ago. So obviously he was getting £410.70 in social care that the council were paying. So you've not paid that for over 10 years, all right? We're not even talking about that. We're talking about his benefit money that he's legally entitled to. That nobody can deny that he has. That's his money, all right? That is now accumulating with yourself, and all I'm asking is that I shouldn't even be talking to you, because as you can appreciate, this is outside your remit. You're here officially to be his care coordinator, and you're not dealing with his finances. Now, obviously, I'm ringing you up because nobody else is putting themselves forward, all right? Because ultimately, the way I see it, this week by week that this money is accumulating, I know it's criminal money that you're accumulating, because that's what you convicted me of. All right, for not giving unfettered access and allowing money to accumulate. So I know what you're doing is criminal. So, but then obviously you're the only person I can speak to now. Obviously, because if you're acting as a representative of the council, I've made it quite clear to you a couple of weeks ago that look, we want to speak to somebody else more senior or somebody to deal with his finances. Nobody has got back to me regarding regarding the management of his finances. And surely that's not your job, is it? Your job should not be to act as a liaison officer between the council and myself, all right, or as Talib's representative, when it's not in your remit to manage his finances. I mean, do you know how much money he's got? No. Do you know anything about his money?
No, I think it's my understanding that it's a significant amount of money, like in the tens of thousands. That's my understanding, as I'm sure you're aware as well. But I was told by appointeeships that it's not their process, that they for whatever reason, they inform people how much the balance is. I can understand your frustrations and Talib's frustrations at that, but I think that's just the standard way that they run appointeeships.
But the thing is, there's nothing. It's not in law, is it? In law, my brother, it's not a law. So it's down to your discretion, basically. Basically we've made a policy. So I've made a policy too. It's my standard policy to charge £1 million a week. Okay, I've got a policy. You or the council are not adhering to my policies, alright? But you want me to adhere to your policies, which you just made up on the fly. Now, can you understand that the council has no right to make that policy? If my brother, basically, first of all, the council has no right to take control of my brother's finances when he has mental capacity. In order for you to do that, something fraudulent has happened because I've presented a mental capacity. Everything's been like wishy-washied around. But so that's the first point. The second point is that you're just making these rules up as you go along. There's no accountability, is there? There's no legal framework in place. All right, just that we've got control of his finances now. My understanding is that obviously this has been now several years since Talib's finances have been procured by other than myself or Talib since 2016. So that's now we're coming up to a period of 7 years. 7 years Talib's not had access to his money. Now I understand that on a normal basis, just as benefit money alone is over £10,000, £12,000 a year, £10,000 to £12,000 a year. So that's like, we're talking about £70,000 there already, all right? And in addition to the fact that Adalat's accumulated over £90,000. So we're talking about £150,000. That's not the council's money. That's my brother Talib's money. And now obviously the council are saying we want his property as well. That was on my name. So, you're looking to get around about like £750,000. And then obviously with that money, it seems quite evident to me that you're going to force him into get care, like what you did to my mother, force him into care and use that money to pay one of your own lackeys as a domiciliary care provider. That's exactly what happened in my mum's case. So I can see the framework that's in place. But every day that goes by is like a day that, obviously, you can understand, Mr. Browell, that there are costs accumulating at our end. And nobody from the council is coming forward to say, look, how can we resolve the situation? As far as the council's concerned, we've told you got money here, you can accept the £250, you cannot accept the £250, that's entirely up to you and Talib, we don't really care, and at the end of the day, we're holding on to this money, alright, until...
You could be given a payment card as well, and you haven't agreed with that, but there's always that option of a payment card, and the money would still be added to that.
No, because because once again you're being very, very, very disingenuous, because the payment card, several attempts have been made to put the payment card in place. One of the things was that Adalat, our brother, our nefarious brother, was taking instructions from you, the council, of obviously me and Talib, I was taking Talib down to get his money from Adalat, alright, and Adalat was seeking instructions from you, the council, of how can I deal with this. So you, the council, instructed Adalat to get him a payment card, alright, and put some money in there for Talib. That's what Adalat proceeded to do. He then proceeded to present a card to me and Talib. Now, can you understand that Talib does not even know how to use a telephone, which is a basic thing. Pick up a phone when it's ringing, press a button, and put the phone to your ear. He does not even know how to use a telephone. But you expect him to use a bank card on his own. So you gave the bank card. You instructed through your agent Adalat to give Talib a bank card, which obviously I had to then utilize in order to help him take out the money. And then once I took out the money, you then proceeded to you and Nadia Khan in February 2019 proceeded to put safeguarding alerts, trying to frame me once again for stealing his money. And that's why Nadia Khan was trying to establish does he have mental capacity, which obviously the documents are forwarded to you. So you try to frame me then to give a bank card to Talib when Talib does not know how to use a bank card and requires me to help him, where then you can make the allegation that I stolen that money. So you did that then, alright, and that failed. Or no, we took out the money, and then obviously so that failed in order for you to pursue that aspect, because you couldn't establish that Talib lacked capacity and I was stealing the money. All right, so that failed then, and then subsequently, just before you came on board in 2020, 2021, when Talib was living in Oldham, they sent him a bank card. Now the bank card they sent him, knowing the fact that my brother it'll be practically impossible for him to take out the money, that I would be needing to take out the money. Obviously you then told Oldham police that I'm financially abusing him. Alright? So the bank card is not an option, because Talib, you can't give the bank card to Talib, because Talib can't use the bank card. And in the past, Talib has stated I want cash. So the only thing that we've accepted is for you to give Talib cash money. That's the way he wants it. He wants cash money. And for a period of time, I was assisting Talib to get the cash money. So it's just basically farcical. I was taking Talib down to like a care home where the money was. The care provider was giving Talib the money. We were showing a passport, and then Talib was giving me the money. All right. So it's just basically farcical, isn't it? Now you say, oh, he's got. These are all red herrings. It's not your money, it's Talib's money. Alright, Talib has a right to do with it whatever he wants. He's elected to give me the money. Alright. So when you're saying, are you gonna give me the money, or are you gonna give Talib the money? Alright? This is where the problem lies, isn't it? Why don't you put the bank card in my name and give me the money?
I don't know. I mean, I could ask.
No, obviously, no, that's not possible, because you, the council, have convicted me of financially defrauding him. And now you're going to put a bank card in my name and give me the money? Obviously.
When there was the payment card in place before, I wasn't allocated. If it could be arranged again, I wouldn't think there'd be any reason to say that there'd be safeguarding involved, because the only way that Talib can access his money is via you as his carer. So I can't see why there'd be any concern for that.
But why was there concern in February 2019, which is on your records?
I can't comment. I wasn't aware of that, and I can't comment.
No.
I'm saying that from now on, if the payment card was in place, I support it being.
But can you understand? Look, but do you understand that option is no longer open to us because of what you, the council, have been doing? I don't care about what your personal opinion is. All right, it's what the council's actions are. There's a pattern of behaviour, and obviously, right now, as it stands, this week that's gone by, or all the previous weeks have gone by, you're asking me to assist you to get out of a criminal enterprise. You're doing crime. This is criminality. Alright, you are doing a crime because you are preventing a person who has access, whose money you're accumulating. And remember, that's what you convicted me of, accumulating his money. You're not giving him unfettered access to his money. Now, what unfettered access means is basically, as a basic thing, he needs to know how much money he's got. Why can't you write out to us and tell us how much? Why can't you write out to Talib and tell him how much money he's got when he specifically asked you that question? And what you want is we don't even know how much money you've got, and you want us to just accept something because you're like basically blackmailing us into accepting something that we feel uncomfortable with, where there are legal consequences to me, all right, and consequences to Talib, but there's no legal consequences to you, is there? And this is one of the problems we're facing, is that you, the local authority, are effectively above the law. You can do whatever you like. And the reason that you are above the law, you believe that you're above the law, is because you can always buy off judges. And judges can always cover things up. So even though you're not in a position to say the fact that, or whether the judiciary is inherently corrupt, I have experienced that. I personally know the fact that, and this is what I've been screaming out even before the case in my mother's case in September 2018, when you basically when your predecessors have come and kidnapped my brother and put him into Linfield Mount Hospital on the 3rd of August 2018. In September 2019 or in October 2018, I'm telling the local authority, look, you bought off judges. I know you're buying off judges. And that doesn't seem to dissuade the local authority. They say, well, we don't care what you're saying. Nobody's going to believe you, but we're just going to buy off the judges. But right now, I'm taking on all the responsibility for Talib 100%. And you people are not doing anything, are you? You're just accumulating and saving money. His money. Never mind the social care money that you're accumulating. So the reality is that the options that you're putting on the table are red herrings. The options that you're putting on the table are neither here nor there. All right, because obviously every week these things should have been resolved in the court of protection. We were in the court of protection. Why did the issues not get resolved in the court of protection? All right, the court of protection, Judge Beckley is a prostitute. He's just basically prostituting out his services to the Bradford Council to make money. Now, can you understand? But what concerns me more, Mr. Browell, not just the money situation, because the money that you're accumulating, I'm obviously having to substitute and caring for my brother. What really is a concern to me, and which should be a concern to you, is the fact that my brother has no access to healthcare. All right? He's got no access to his healthcare. No NHS healthcare support. A vulnerable adult who requires 24-hour care 7 days a week, who's doubly incontinent, who I am having to hand feed, all right, who has like mobility issues, all right, who has several ongoing healthcare issues, mental health issues. He's not even got access to a GP anymore, all right. There's nobody.
You could go to a GP and register though, couldn't they? Between yourself and Talib, they wouldn't stop him from registering, would they?
But the reality is this, that in order, look, let me just explain something. In order for us to get services, any services, they have to be lawful, don't they? I can't take my brother to some guy I know that's claiming to be a GP. They have to be a registered GP, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So therefore, those people, a registered GP has to be compliant to the law, don't they? One of the reasons that you want to go to a registered person is because they are going to be doing things lawfully. They're not going to be doing things shoddy, are they? They're not going to be doing, buying criminal stuff or using like dodgy stuff. They're going to be using proper stuff. They're going to be basically a GP is accountable, aren't they? So that's one of the reasons that you go to a professional, because they're legally accountable. There's consequences. If I go to a GP and they mess up, don't they? I can take legal action against them, can't I?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But under these circumstances, all right, one of the things is that all GPs, like if you go to your GP, you can say, I want my records. And by law, they have to give you those records. So they are then complying to the law. In our particular circumstances, if I register him to a GP and I ask for his medical records, they're not going to give me those records. Okay, so therefore our circumstances are not the same of just any ordinary person registering with a GP, because let's put that into the framework. Any ordinary person could go register with any old GP, okay, and when they do register with the GP, they're going to get access to the medical records. But those are not circumstances that are particularly germane to our situation. If I register with a GP practice, you, the council, are going to say don't disclose any records. So once again, you're putting us into this very opaque, situation where we're not fully informed. Now, one of the reasons that you're entitled to your medical records is because so you can give informed consent. The key element being informed. All right. In order for you to give informed consent, you have to be informed. They have to tell you information. You can't give informed consent when you're hiding information. So this is one of the problems I'm having. Registering him to a GP in Bradford does not resolve the situation, because legally speaking, I don't have authority to act in his health and well-being interest. Because on the one hand, you're saying that he lacks mental capacity. Then obviously there's no lasting power of attorney in place, and then you're colluding and conspiring with the GP practices, telling them, oh, do you know Shazad is a criminal? He's defrauded his brother all this money. Watch out for him. Safeguarding alerts in the background, which is degenerating the doctor-patient relationship confidentiality. So we're practically speaking, although in principle Talib's got all this money. In principle, Talib can go to register with the GP. The practicalities are one which you're preventing them. Now, one of the reasons is that if this matter going to the final hearing of the court of protection, my lasting power of attorney for property and finances was originally suspended and removed. My lasting power of attorney for health and welfare was suspended and then removed. But then you took over the money. But what about his health and welfare? Who's formally responsible for his health and welfare? Can you explain that to me? Because you've removed his lasting power of attorney on the pretext that he lacks mental capacity. So if this person lacks mental capacity, he should. Your argument that he shouldn't be managing his finances. You don't want me to manage his finances because you have unlawfully criminally convicted me. Okay, so you're managing his finances as his deputy. Who is his health and welfare deputy?
I don't know.
No, but why don't you know who's his health and welfare deputy? Because obviously, look, the situation is one where I myself don't need, and I myself as an autonomous person, and like you are an autonomous person, you make your own decisions, all right? Because you have mental capacity and you can give informed consent. So you have mental capacity to take in information to give informed consent. So you're not a problem. Alternatively, if I wanted to, I can hand my lasting power of attorney to somebody else to make those decisions for me. All right, because obviously I still have mental capacity. I'm authorizing or giving informed consent for somebody to act on my behalf, and that's done through a lasting power of attorney. That's what my brother's done. Having mental capacity, he's given me a lasting power of attorney for his property and finances and health and welfare. Now, you, the local authority, with the court protection and the Office of the Public Guardian, have sought fit that I can't manage his finances because you, the local authority, and the Office of the Public Guardian, in collaboration with the Office of the Public Guardian, have criminally convicted me of financially defrauding him. So then you said there's nobody else available, so we're going to take charge of the money. So that's okay, that's fair enough. Good for you. You've got all the money. But what about his health and welfare, which I'm trying to explain to you? If there is a lasting power of either there's no lasting power of attorney, the person makes his own decisions, or alternatively, the person puts a lasting power of attorney in place for his health and welfare. Let's just focus in on this. If you've removed the health and welfare lasting power of attorney, and you're saying that he lacks mental capacity, then where is his health and welfare deputy?
So that's something that are the OPG aware of that? Are the people who've been dealing with the lasting power of attorney, or the same people who turned down your lasting power of attorney for health and welfare? I presume that they would know.
Yeah, nobody wants to. Yeah, but everybody knows, don't it? Obviously, the court of protection have the Office of the Public Guardian so fit to go to a court of protection and suspend and then remove my lasting power of attorney for health and welfare. All right, the local authority have put in themselves as deputy and taking control of his finances. All right, they've unilaterally established that my brother lacks mental capacity when no mental capacity assessment report has been considered in court. No evidence has been presented in court that he lacks mental capacity. All right, so you've done this. So this is where it's fraudulent. All right, so okay, you've done all this, but can you understand that you're leaving my brother in a vacuum where he's got no access to any health and welfare? He can't register with it. I tell you what, he can't register with a GP practice because as far as the courts are concerned, as far as the court of protection is concerned, as far as the Office of the Public Guardian is concerned, as far as you, the Bradford Council, are concerned, he lacks mental capacity. So if he lacks mental capacity to manage his own finances, he also lacks mental capacity, according to everybody else, to register himself with a GP. He can't register himself with a GP. Now, you're telling me that I could register him with a GP. No, I can't do that. Because according to you, he lacks capacity. So he lacks mental capacity. So it needs to be established now, does he have mental capacity to authorize me to register him with a GP? Can you understand? Now we're talking legally now, so can you understand what the situation you placed us into? That how am I supposed to register him? Because in the past, when I've registered him with a GP practice, I've got his informed consent. All right, his issue of his mental capacity is not an issue. He can't look in my. Do you agree? In my absence, he can't register himself to a GP practice.
Probably without someone else to support him and without you there, then yeah, I would say that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
If somebody was to support, for example, if you were to support him to register with a GP practice here in Bradford, would that be possible?
I think it could be possible. Yeah, I think he registered within the GP practice in Oldham without any capacity issues.
No. There was a capacity issue there because obviously they wanted his authority, so he had to sign authority for me to act on his behalf. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that I don't want, you're gonna now register him with the GP practice in Bradford. Just for argument's sake, in order for him to be in order for you to assist my brother to register him, all right, you need his authority, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. And how can he give authority to you if according to everybody else he lacks he lacks mental capacity?
Practically speaking, you could take him to a GP and he'd register and it wouldn't prove too much of a problem, I don't think, Shazad.
No, we're talking about legally speaking. Never mind practically. Practically there are problems, but I'm just trying to establish, if you were to take my brother to get registered with a GP practice, the GP practice would not register, you could not act on his behalf without his authority. That's correct, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, and how does he give you authority?
With capacity?
Yes.
Informed?
Yes. Yeah, so if he has, but you've already established that this person lacks capacity. Can you see where the problem lies? Can you see where the problem lies? Because my brother's mental capacity is not only to your benefit, all right? My brother's mental capacity has got nothing to do with my criminal conviction. My brother's mental capacity has got nothing to do with the advancement or advantage to the local authority's criminal conviction. But yet here we are in this situation. Look, the fundamentals are this, that you're taking responsibility. You, the councillor, malevolently taking responsibility for his finances, because you can use that money, can't you? Is it correct that Talib's money is ring fenced, or is it just going into one big pot?
I would have thought it's ring fenced.
Okay, all right, because you don't know, do you? I mean, maybe it's just all going into one big pot for administrative purposes, and you're just keeping it on record, because the money that's coming from the DWP or everybody else is that, how can it be ring fenced? Because you have not opened up a bank account in Talib's sole name. In order for it to be ring fenced, it needs to be going into a bank account in Talib's sole name. Yeah, you're collecting this money into a bank account in your own. I don't know which bank account it's going into, but that's not ring fence money, number one. And number two is the fact that, irrespective of whether the money is being ring fenced or not, what happens if Talib dies right now? If Talib's to die, who keeps the money? You just keep the money, don't you? So you, the local authority, incentivized for this crisis to happen in order for my brother Talib to die, in order for you to blame me that I didn't do this and I didn't do that, and at the same time you're going to just keep the tens of thousands of pounds, just like you've done in my mum's case. You've just kept all the money. Look, Mr. Browell, we're just going around in circles, and I don't want to take up unnecessary time, but at this moment in time, I need to speak to somebody senior, because I can't speak to the solicitors. Number one, I've lodged a formal complaint about Mr. Kenner, all right? And number two is that he's only the solicitor. All he's going to say to me is that there's no live court cases going on. I don't need to speak to you. So who's the bottom line is this: you, the local authority, have made effectively my brother Talib a ward of the state. You're saying we're responsible for Talib now. Not only are we responsible for the fact that he's out on a Section 117 in my care, but you're in charge of his money. So you tell me, as a local authority, who's responsible for his health and welfare, legally speaking?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
But it's a serious question. Can you understand my bro? Go on.
If Talib hasn't nominated anyone, then that's been accepted, then it's still the case that Talib is seen to have capacity with regards to his health and welfare, isn't it?
Well, wait on a minute. How can he have? That doesn't make any sense, because if you're now stating that he has capacity for his health and welfare, then what's the distinction between him having capacity for his health and welfare and nominating me, and him having mental capacity and nominating me for his for his finances? How is it that he lacks mental capacity in order to manage his own finances, but he does have mental capacity to make decisions regarding his health and welfare?
in the absence of no one being nominated to be LPA for his health and welfare.
Yes, but he's already done that. He's already nominated me as his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare. So he had that capacity. But you've removed both.
What happened to that nomination? It was
removed.
Refused.
It was registered and then removed by the council and the office of the public guardian. But it was, so can you understand the problem here lies, Mr. Browell? You're an intelligent person. Of course he has mental capacity. We've done everything legitimately. Why would I do something illegitimate or criminal or to expose myself when I've already got a criminal conviction against me by you, the council? So my brother, having mental capacity, signed over his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare initially. Alright? Once that got registered, so we didn't do it in one go. I think it was like in 2019 when he got released into my care, and I think it was the previous people saying go get a solicitor, or I was asking for this situation to get resolved. Nobody was doing anything to resolve the situation, so I assisted my brother in order to get his lasting power of attorney for health and welfare registered with the office of the public guardian. That got registered, not a problem. Alright, then subsequently, once that got registered, I then proceeded to register my brother's lasting power of attorney for property and finances after the health and welfare had been registered. Once both of those got registered, I then made the council aware that and the housing association aware that I now legally act on behalf of my brother's holding his lasting power of attorney for both health and welfare and property and finances, and look to make subject access disclosure requests. You, the local authority, then colluded and conspired with the office of the public guardian and started a malicious investigation regarding my rights to act as lasting power of attorney for my brother Talib, considering my criminal conviction. But also, what you may or may not be aware of, Mr. Browell, is that I also hold a lasting power of attorney for property and finances and health and welfare for my sister in Oldham. So a criminal an investigation was put underway because the local authority, Bradford Council, and the office of the public guardian cannot accept me as acting on behalf of my brother, acting on behalf of vulnerable adults, because obviously that conflicts with the criminal conviction. So numerous efforts have been made to remove my lasting power of attorney regarding my sister. To date, that has not happened and will not happen, because obviously my sister, having mental capacity, has stated that to her GP that look, I've authorized this, so you can't remove it. But enough effort has been put in place. Similarly, my brother's equally stated to everybody that I'm delegating my authority to my brother Shazad. The problem here, Mr. Browell, is one of the criminal conviction. Your criminal conviction is the cause of the problem, because alternatively you'll be saying, yeah, no problem, if your brother's elected you, we'll give you the money. But you're trying to do two things that are impossible, which is, number one, you're trying to uphold your criminal conviction at the same time as trying to do everything else, and that is the cause of the problem. You would have recognized that is the case, isn't it? Because you criminally convicted me of a crime that I could not have committed regarding my brother and my mother and everybody else, and then you're going through all this effort in order to keep your criminal conviction secured by looking to put all these stage walls in place. If my brother has authorized me to, but fundamentally, why, if my brother has mental capacity, why can't I look after his finances?
I don't know the details of that, of why the LPA was removed for that.
No. Can you understand? If my brother has mental capacity, in principle, why can't he authorize me to take care of his finances?
I don't see. Yeah, I don't know. Tell me why. Is it because of the criminal conviction?
Well, no doubt, because obviously what you're telling me right now is that he could authorize me to get him registered with a GP, can't he?
Yeah.
Alright, so you're saying that on the face of it, that he has capacity to authorize me to register him with the GP practice. You and the council concede that point because you understand there's no financial gain for you. But if he has the capacity to authorize me to register him with a GP in Bradford, then quite equally he has the same mental capacity for him to authorize me to manage his finances, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Okay. There is no mental condition or there's nothing medical or mental condition that allows him to have mental capacity in one realm, but that prevents him from having mental capacity in the other realm. So there's no like a mental degenerative mental condition that effectively prevents him from authorizing me to get him registered with a GP practice and having capacity to do that, but yet prevents him from having the mental capacity to authorize me to manage his finances. There's no medical condition that or any kind of degenerative condition that affects his mental capacity is there that allows him capacity in one realm but not in the other.
Not that I'm aware of.
No. So this is the thing. So on the one hand, you're telling me that you're willing to concede that he has mental capacity for him to authorize me to register him with a GP practice in Bradford, but he does not have mental capacity to authorize me to manage his finances.
Again, it's a matter of presumed capacity, isn't it? And there's, if Talib was to need to be in A&E, they're not going to not allow him any healthcare because of a matter of capacity or LPA.
No, but those are
GP.
no, that's not correct, because there's a imperative that if somebody is inebriated and they're going to the A&E, ideally they need to be given consent. But if it's a danger to life and limb, all right, under those are exceptional circumstances where the aspect of getting consent is not possible. If my brother was to go to the GP practice now, if he was to go to hospital, the doctors, the first things that they will try to do is try to establish if they can get consent. Because a doctor, even in a hospital, cannot touch my brother. Nobody can touch somebody without consent. So the hospitals and the doctors, the first thing they try to do is try to get consent. However, if they can't get consent and there's a danger to life, then they can proceed under those very exceptional and unique circumstances where there's an endanger to life or an imminent danger to life, so they then have to proceed in the best interest of the individual. All right, those are very rare and unique circumstances where there's a threat to life. Now, you're trying to say that scenario I can apply in order to get my brother registered with the GP, but there's no imminent danger or threat to my brother's life right now. So I need to get his consent. And in the absence of getting his consent, all right, to register with the GP practice in wherever, you're saying that he lacks capacity to manage his finances, but there's a presumption of capacity that he can make that decision. See, this is the problem I'm having, which is not being resolved, because what you're trying to do as a council is that you want all power and control and responsibility, but don't want to take any responsibility and legal liability. Right now, you framed the situation where there's absolutely no legal liability on your part. So, for example, if Talib is to have a trip and fall right now and harm comes to him, I've got legal liability, haven't I? You can prosecute me saying I didn't do X, Y, and Z. So that's the situation you place me into. But there's nothing that you're doing that's causing any legal liability to you. And I'm trying to explain to you that you're not giving my brother his money. That's a legal liability. You're just saying we don't accept it. But bottom line is, Mr. Browell, is that how are we going to resolve the situation? It's not resolving itself, is it? You're basically staging an event that's endangering my brother's life. And should he die under these circumstances, you the council, are going to use your power to convict me of other crimes, all right? When the reality is this is your fault. You're not resolving the situation. Now, the purpose of me ringing you, Mr. Browell, is to find some sort of resolution. Now, how can the situation be resolved? My brother's not having access to any of his money, all right? He's got no social security money. He's got no health access to any health care, all right? And also, his own accommodation is like he's threatened with homelessness because all his own accommodation is being pursued. Litigation is being pursued by the housing association. So What are you, the council, going to do? So you basically, the council, are just collecting money and not spending the money, and are placing my brother's life in danger. If you're the deputy, as you claim, the local authorities got. What is that? What are you doing? You're not doing anything. You're not doing any work. You're not doing any taking any responsibility. You're just basically getting the DWP money and putting it in your bank account. That's it, and that's all an automated process. Yeah, here
I've said before, but I don't have these answers. When I've asked these questions, answers haven't been forthcoming to me either. If there's another meeting, that would be the best opportunity there. I'd be able to voice your concerns and then provide some feedback. Other than that, I'm at a loss of what I can do. I've got a meeting at 3:00, Shazad.
Okay. Well, tell me what. I've been on this call now for nearly an hour or so, yeah? So tell me, where does that leave me and Talib?
Like you say, I've made a note of your concerns that, about not having access to money, healthcare, being threatened with homelessness, the issue regarding there's no LPA in place for Talib's health and welfare. All I can do, I can also kind of mention about the issue regarding the appointeeship and is there any way that appointeeships would be able to arrange some kind of communication with you and Talib to kind of to find resolutions to the difficulties like the balance that's in appointeeships. But again, it's out of my control. All I can do is try
Okay, all right. No, I understand, Mr. Browell. I understand. I understand, Mr. Browell. But right now, obviously, it's very infuriating because you're leaving us in a situation where we've got no legal framework to work with. There's no legal framework that gives us. We want to work in a legal framework because obviously it offers us some level of security and protection. But the reality is that you're leaving us in this basically wilderness where we've got no security or no legal framework. Hence why it doesn't hinder my interest because obviously, as I've explained, I'm doing the best I can under these circumstances and invoicing you, the local authority, £1 million. I did that in September 2018. I told you how much was the outstanding balance previously. My situation has not changed either. It's not the case that you're going to blackmail me into get me not to charge you this money. So I'm continuing to charge you £1 million a week because. I've made that quite clear. But in the interim, you still have legal liabilities and duty of care to Talib, which you're negating and failing upon. And you cannot blame me saying that I'm the one that's preventing things from happening when I'm the one that's instigating contact with you and communicating with you and raising these issues with you, all right, as a local authority. So in the absence of speaking to you and in the absence of speaking to Mr. Kenner, can you just give me a name of a person that I need to speak to? Who is the decision maker and responsible for my brother right now from the council?
As I said before, I'm not aware of there being a decision maker.
Are you the decision maker?
No, I'm not. No.
Are you responsible for Are you completely responsible for my brother?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
No.
So you can understand I'm not because you, the council, have pursued some action against me. So who is completely responsible for my brother? Who is that responsible person? Because is it correct that you, the local authority, are the responsible person for his health, for his finances?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a point, please.
Yeah. So you've got legal authority to be fully responsible for his finances. All right, and the decision and any decisions regarding his finances, you, the local authority, are the decision maker. Yes.
Yes, it's 3:00.
Okay, all right, Mr. Browell. But you're not giving. Can you just give me a person's name that I can contact?
You're aware of Ishmael Muller.
But
he's in the appointeeship. So with regard to health and welfare, I don't know of a name that I could give you. Like I say, if you've got Talib will be able to access healthcare if you're able to support him to an informal basis.
Well, I can't do it. I am not willing to work on an informal basis because that places me at risk.
Okay. Fine. I need to get off the phone.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Shazad. Cheers. Bye.
So they're basically just fobbing us off in it. They've got the money. They don't need to do anything else. They've got control of his finances unlawfully by getting the judges to prostitute out their services. All right. Now all they want to do is they're just waiting for a crisis to happen. They're just waiting for something wrong to happen, and then they're gonna come over saying, "Oh, we're now taking responsibility." Right now, they're taking no responsibility for my brother's health and welfare, which is a primary issue. The only reason he's getting benefit money is because of his underlying mental health issues or disabilities. So the reason that he's getting money, state handout money, and obviously the reason that he was getting social care money was because of his underlying disabilities due to his health and well-being or health and welfare. All right, so those are the underlying core reasons why he's getting money in the first place. Because otherwise, why is Talib not going out to work and making his own money? He can't go out to work and making his own money because he's a vulnerable adult. All right, he has healthcare issues. So because of those healthcare issues, he's getting money. And so the local authority has decided, well, we're desperate for money, so what we're going to do is we're just going to get that money, but we're not going to provide him with any health and welfare support. And even state health and welfare, such as the NHS, we're effectively stonewalling and blocking this. They're fully aware that for a period now of at least over a year now, that my brother's not been getting access to his medication. All right, mental health medication. So they're fully aware of everything that's going on, but yet they want to just act like they don't know what's going on. Who do I need to speak to? All right, they're just acting like, oh, we're just stupid. We don't know what we're doing. All right, you know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you're trying to create here. You're creating a situation that's endangering me and my brother's life. You're looking to put us. You're looking to give all liability to me. You're not taking any responsibility for any liability, legal liability, financial liability, moral liability. All that liability is put onto me, yet you're willing to accumulate his assets into the tens of thousands of pounds. So Talib's got tens of thousands of pounds. There's no means for Talib to get this money because of a situation that the local authority have created. You created the situation, so you're practically preventing him from getting the money. Alright? And you're claiming that you're acting in his best interest. You're endangering his life. And so ultimately, if Talib is to die, and if Talib is to die under these circumstances, they're going to convict me, alright, of the crime. They're then going to say, look, lessons will be learned. The judge is going to say, look, the council should have done X, Y, and Z, just as in the case of that chess player that died. Lessons will be learned. Yes, we're going to do something. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. Alright, this is a situation that's not by a lack of... it's by design, basically. They've designed a situation that's going to cause us harm and distress, and they can exploit our vulnerability to their own benefit. Hence why I'm saying, look, you're doing this deliberately, and I'm going to charge you. I'm not going to be doing things for free, endangering my brother's life like this. And you see that they put themselves in a conundrum situation that they have created themselves, and now want me to help them. Why should I help them? Because every week that goes by is criminality on their part, and they know it, and I know it, and that's just the end of it. They're committing crimes.